severity and priority. What is mean by severity? What is mean by priority? And few examples, right? So consider this SDLC, you know the phases. Whatever you want to start, you should have a plan. Then you have to gather the requirements to implement that plan, design it. Once the design is done, development will kickstart, then testing. Deployment is you have to deploy the code into the production, then support and maintenance. Okay, this is what we have discussed yesterday. And about severity and priority. Severity is from the functionality perspective. Okay, how about priority? Prioritization means it is about the urgency of fixing the defects. Along with this, we discussed about the login example, what will fall under performance testing, what will fall under functional testing. Let me open that sheet. For whatever testing you are doing, right, you should know whether the scenarios are related to the functionality or user interface or performance or security. But as a cyber security analyst, we should be concentrating only on the security testing related scenarios. Okay. Yeah. These are the things we have discussed in the last session. Now let us go through some important interview questions as part of this session. Okay. So all of you respond in the chat window for whatever the questions I ask here. It is just for tracking, like if you are following up the classes, and also you should be revising the classes every day. The videos you should be going through on daily basis. So the first question is, list the different phases of SDLC in sequence. Can I get the answer in the chat window? It is very clear. Imagine like you are trying to construct some house or you are trying to manufacture some product. How do you start and how do you end? Different phases are there, no? So within that phases, which one has to take precedence? Another 1 minute. I need answer from every one of you. This is a very basic concept. Any software engineer has to know this process. It doesn't matter whether you are a developer, architect, tester, or database administrator. This process is common and you should be able to answer this at any time. Another 30 seconds. Okay, so the answer will be here. We start with planning, then try to gather the requirements, requirement gathering and analysis, then design on a high level how it has to be structured. Once the design is done, we'll develop the application or the product. Once the development is done, it is mandatory to provide the quality for that application, right? That's why we do the testing. Deployment is something for the IT applications. We have to make it available for the customers, right? That's what it is called, deployment. Support and maintenance. Good, all of you are able to answer this. Even if you have any doubts on this, revise one more time and then have clarity on this. Next question. So you are seeing some SDLC phases on the left hand side, A to E, and different job roles. You can see like multiple job roles, right? In any any software project, you will see developers, you see testers, you see product managers, architects. We have to do this matching. Okay, you can match like A1, A2, or A3, or B1, B2, B3, or C3, 4. Like that's matching. We have to do it. You may not get a same question in any interviews, but within this concept, multiple questions can be asked. Like, what is the role of a architect in SDLC? Okay, you are a tester. What is your role in SDLC? So you should be familiar with this. Yeah, take your time. Don't be hurry about. I need you to think. Okay, what do you mean by that? Who is supposed to take responsibility in each phase? Once you think only, then you'll be able to remember these concepts. Take left side one as a reference. Try to map the correct number to the left side one. For example, development is there. Development means software development. A is for software development. And who is a person responsible for development or programming? That's what it is. Out of 1 to 5. So I'll give you the answer for A. So it is A5. Developer is the one who programs or develops the code. That's one. That's the reason A5. Similarly for B, in the testing phase, who is the person works in the testing phase? Product manager or quality analyst or tester or developer, tech support team. Who is the person who is responsible in the testing phase? That's how it is. B should be tester or quality analyst. So B is 3, like that. So all of you are able to answer this. Just keep a track of your answers and then try to correlate like how much you are able to answer. Okay. Let me see how many of you are able to answer this. A5 is correct, most of you. B is for testing, and who is responsible for testing is quality analyst or tester. So B should be 3. B3. Okay. B3. Okay. Vamshi has responded developer to development, tester, requirement, gathering. Design is architect. Yes, correct. And Manasa A5, B3, C1. Yes, D design is D2. Okay, I see most of you are correct. In case if you are not correct, just remember this job roles and responsibilities. So the correct answer will be like this. You can see here, developer is the one who is responsible for it. Tester, QA or in the testing phase, quality analyst or tester. Requirement gathering means who is the one who designs the requirements or the functionalities? Product managers. The duty of product managers, not the project managers. Product managers they deal with the customers and they go with the different kinds of surveys or directly with the customers or through some online, and they try to come up with some of the features that are more demanding. These are the people who try to gather requirements for any kind of planning. Okay. And even business analyst, whether this business is going to work out or not based on the requirements. That's what. Design. So the design is basically complete architecture. Okay. That is architect. Even if you want to be specific, development architect, you can say. Maintenance and support is technical support team. After you deploy the code to the production, they have to take care of supporting for the existing customers. Great. Third question. Select all the applicable roles of a software tester. So you know what is meant by quality and what is meant by testing and who is responsible for testing. Software tester is responsible for testing. So in general, what are the activities, what are his responsibilities as a software tester? We have options A to E. Select the appropriate one. Test planning, test case development. Test case development means writing of test cases or test scenarios. Okay. And the third one is test case execution. Execution means you have the test cases ready. You have to select the application and then execute it. Logging defects. You know the purpose of logging defects, right? Yes. And all of the above. So which one is applicable for software tester? This is a very easy question and also very important. As a tester, you should know what is your responsibility. So test planning means in an application you may see multiple modules. Each and every module you have to develop test cases, test scenarios. Once you develop test scenarios, you have to do the execution. Execution means with the actual application, you are going to test it. Once the execution is done, you have to report the defect, right? Unless you report, no one are going to fix it. So these are all the these are the job roles. I mean to say responsibilities of software tester. The answer is yes, it is E. Okay, next one. Select all the applicable roles of a security tester. Now it is a very specific question related to a security engineer. Okay, you can say security engineer or cyber security analyst or penetration tester, whatever it is. There are multiple roles. What is the main purpose of what is the main job of security tester? That's what it is. To find functional defects, to find UI UX defects. So UI UX stands for user interface, basically look and feel. Okay, UX stands for user experience. You would have seen this term UI UX. And the third one is find vulnerabilities. Fourth one is performance tuning and testing. So that is basically to improve the performance of the application. All of the above. So it is very clear. So the answer is C. Okay. The reason is, as a security engineer, you should concentrate only on the security loopholes, not the functional loopholes. There is a different team for doing the functional testing. Those are manual testers, not the security testers. And it is very easy to find the functional defects, basically. The reason is, you know the functionality and you know the behavior of it. It is very easy to find functional defects. But whereas security loopholes, those are called vulnerabilities. It is a little bit tough. Only security engineers can find it. Unless you know the security concepts, you cannot find it, right? That's the reason security engineer job role is very important. The answer will be to find vulnerabilities. Vulnerability is nothing. It is just a security defect. Remember that. What is mean by severity of a defect? I need the answer. It is a sentence. Just a small one word sentence you can say. What is your understanding of severity? We discussed in the yesterday session, right? So what is mean by severity of a defect? So severity means this from the functionality perspective, yes, the extent of an application. So the extent of an application means impact, you can say. The extent of the impact over the application, right? How much impact this is going to be on the application. Degree of impact over the functionality, yes. Okay, great. Another 30 seconds. Degree or extent of impact or the functionality of an application. You can see the answer here. Severity talks about extent of the impact of the defect. So there is a defect. What is its impact over the functionality, application functionality? That's what it is, severity. Severity talks about functionality and quality. So basically it is going to affect the quality, right? Quality. That's the reason this severity talks about functionality and quality. What do you mean by priority of a defect? So priority talks about urgency of fixing the issues. It is basically about scheduling. So how soon the issue has to be fixed. If there is a delay, it is going to affect your business or brand. Okay, remember that. So priority talks about the urgency of fixing the defects, how soon the defect has to be fixed, talks about business value. So I am giving one example, some example scenario. You have to tell me the severity and priority for that. S1 being the highest severity and S5 being the lowest severity, and then P1 being the highest, P5 being the lowest priority. So the scenario here is application crashes while trying to launch in an unsupported version of Windows operating system. So what does it mean? There is an application. Imagine like some gaming application or a banking application. It is there in a operating system, Windows. It can be your PC or laptop, but that is unsupported version of Windows OS. Say Windows has stopped supporting that OS. One of the example I can take is Windows XP. Is there anyone who is using Windows XP operating system now? I don't think so, right? So the question here is, some customer has installed the application in unsupported version of operating system, and then he is facing a crash. Okay, application is crashing in his system. If he files a defect, or if the customer reports to the manufacturer or the application owner, like my application is crashing when I'm trying to launch it, and my operating system is 10 years old operating system. So what is the severity and priority you are going to give for that case? Can I get the answer? Your answer might be like S1 P1, S5 P5, or S1 P3, S3 P3, S3 P1. It all depends on what is the severity you are going to give, what is the priority you are going to give for that application. Think of the definition. Okay. So severity, when you talk about severity, it is from the functionality perspective. When you talk about the priority, it is from the business value. Business value means S1 is like highest severity. You can consider like, let me, so S1 means critical. Okay. S2 means very high. S3 high. S4 medium, and S5. These are the severities of a defect. Okay. P1 means again immediate. Immediately it has to be fixed. P2, you can say like very high. P3 high. P4. This is from the prioritization perspective. So there are different tools for this. I mean to say bug tracking tools. Whenever you report a defect, you have to give these severities and priorities. So I see like S5, P5, S5, P4, S1, P3, S5, P1. Think of it from the functionality perspective. Imagine like application is crashing. You are not able to launch that.
CVRT, priority, better message. Yeah,
Without OS, how they can work? OS is there, but it is a outdated version of operating system. Okay, it is not like I didn't say OS doesn't exist. You just read out this unsupported version of operating system. It means outdated version of operating system. Simple example is Microsoft has stopped supporting Windows XP. If some customer installs that application in that specific OS, is it supposed to work or it is not supposed to work? Are you going to fix it or not? That is a question. You have to think of it. It will not be like straightforward. Of course, very easy. If you are familiar with the concepts, these are all like nothing. Very easy concepts. Okay, let me see your answers. First one, we'll talk about the severity. Okay, severity is from the functionality perspective. Functionality means it doesn't matter about the priority. Think of functionality. Is it affecting the functionality? Yes or no? Crash means very high severe, right? So S1 is critical and S5 is low. Which is it critical or not? Critical in the sense, what is the impact of the functionality? What the functionality? It is very high impact because it is a crash. So it can be S1 or S2. I see S1, S1, S2, some people S5 and S1. Of course, if you are replied wrong, at least try to get the concept behind that, why we are putting S1 or S2, okay? So basically it is critical one because it is a crash. If it is a crash, I cannot log into the application only. Then coming to the priority. So application owner, should he fix this issue or not? Or how soon he has to fix it? Let us talk about the priority now. So as an application owner, I will say, so WhatsApp will support only the Android latest version of 2019 or 2018. If you are using 2015 version of WhatsApp, okay, am I going to fix that, or I'll tell him to upgrade the WhatsApp? Should we fix or not? From the code perspective. So prioritization. We'll ask the developers to fix it or not. As it is unsupported version of operating system. Priority will be low. Okay. Anything like P4, P5. We are not going to fix these things. The reason is application is up to date. Only thing is your environment, operating system environment is outdated. You have to upgrade the operating system to support our application. That's the reason priority will be low. So in this case, severity is high, priority is low. When I say high, it can be S1 and S2, or when I say priority as low, it can be S4 or S5. Okay, clear? Next thing, similar example, but see the difference now. This question, application crashes while trying to launch in supported version of Windows operating system. So similar crash is seen, but this time the Windows operating is a supported version of it. What is the severity and what is the priority? Severity means, is it affecting functionality? Priority means how soon this has to be fixed. Can I get the answer? If you are able to answer this correctly, you should have got all the concepts, even including the previous example. Simple, you have to think like, okay, severity is high or low. First thing is how much functionality damage it is going to happen. S1 is like high impact, S5 is low impact. So when the application is crashing, what is the impact? Is it high or low? That's what you have to think. So severity will be high. Okay, all of you agree with me. So severity means functionality impact, how much functionality that has been affected because of the defect. So the answer is S1, severity. And how about priority? How, when you talk about the priority, how soon it has to be fixed? What is the business value? How many customers are there? All these things you have to think. So considering this is an supported operating system, supported version of mobile or operating system, we have to fix it. And moreover, it is a very high critical. So we have to fix as soon as possible. So priority also will be high. It can be from P1 to P2. Okay. That's what the difference between severity and priority. Give you an example of high severity and high priority defect. So the now question is, as you know the severity and priority, in the earlier case I have already listed one example. Now I need one example from each one of you. What kind of example it is? You can think of any application in a mobile app, or in your Windows operating system, any gaming application, or standalone, any Microsoft application, or you can take even non-IT examples like some car manufacturing unit, bike, or pharma. Considering all these things, can I get one example of high severity and high priority defect? Think of it. You know the definitions now, okay? You have to think of a scenario based on that. Just 3 or 4 words I can say. If you ask me a simple example, I purchased one bike, okay? I can say like, not able to start the bike after 10 days of the purchase. That's it. What is the severity? It is very high. Priority also, it will be very high. Correct? Bike example. Similarly, you can take some car. So very high severity means you cannot do anything with that high severity. Basically blocking issue. Yeah, login issue is one of it. So without login, can you perform any tasks? Login to an application? You cannot perform anything. It is a blocking issue. It is a blocking issue which is affecting the functionality. So we consider it as very high severity, and priority also. It has to be fixed immediately. So high severity and high priority. I see 2 examples from login. Can I get some more examples from you people? OTP issue for transactions. Yes, that is also critical and must fix. Without OTP, you cannot do any transfers or transactions. Even for the login also, if there is an OTP, it is not going to work. Yeah, a few more scenarios. Think of, there are so many applications, right? WhatsApp is there, Facebook, Instagram, or your college website, Aadhaar website, or any Corona website for travel pass. Think of multiple applications. Or Wi-Fi is there, Android mobile is there. What else? Try to think from multiple fields, multiple scenarios. Because as a hacker, no, you should not be restricted to single region. You should have a diversified knowledge as a hacker. OTP issue for transactions, account hacking. So account hacking means someone has hacked your account and that defect is there. Yes, that is high severity and high priority. So Sham has mentioned password. Can you give few more details on that? What exactly mean by password? Is it password not working or something like that? Even banking transactions. You should be clear enough. Okay. Okay, Wi-Fi password not working. That is a critical one because you have created with the correct password and when you are trying to connect, it is not working because of some or other reason. Okay, great. We have got good amount of examples. These are more of theoretical, but more widely asked in interviews. One more example. Give you an example of low severity and high priority defect. This also we have discussed, I guess. Severity means functionality, everything is fine, but from the business value, the defect has to be fixed immediately. Take 2 minutes of time and answer it. I got only one example so far. It can be anything. Very simple one. Bike with no key. So very simple example, always try to remember logo as one of the example for this. Okay, logo or the brand name, fine. So functionality is not affected there. So severity will be low, but priority, how soon it has to be fixed? Very immediate. They don't release Honda cars with some spelling mistake in that Honda, right? That is an example. And so for this example, there should not be any impact over the functionality. No, when you say mobile with no network, again there is a functionality affected, right? That has to be fixed. It can fall under medium severity, but not low severity. Hardware issues also, again it is related to functionality, right? Something functionality should be very much perfect. If I can say that one is logo, other one is brand name, the another one I can say is, say for example, tire size. So tire size is not with respect to the standards. Everything is working, you may say like 15 is the tire size, 15 or 16. Due to manufacturing defect, it has come to 15.5, and no one are able to check that. That's the reason. But anyhow, don't think too much scenarios. Think of logo and brand name for if in case if you find these kind of questions. Moreover, these are like low priority and severity when you are going for a manual testing job. This will be asked more widely. For security testing, just to good to know kind of thing. Okay. And the last question is, give you an example of high severity and low priority. So high severity means functionality is affected. Priority means we are not going to fix it. We already discussed this one, right? So unsupported version of OS. We don't give priority for that. Okay, fine. So almost like 10 questions with respect to the complexity and theory of these things. If you are able to answer 6 out of 10, that will be good. You are on track. Okay. These are all anyhow more of like software engineering concepts, not completely related to cyber security. Great. Now let us start with our hacking concepts. There are few more concepts related to the software testing only. I'll try to cover that when we get some like 20-30 minutes there and here. With this, for example, whatever the concepts we have discussed here, software development, lifecycle, severity, priority, its range, if you go to any manual testing related training institute, they are going to teach these concepts for 1 to 2 months. The course will be for 6 months, and they teach these concepts for at least 1 month. 1 month when I say 20 to 30 hours at least. So, but our course curriculum is pretty much connected to the existing jobs and whatever is required for job or even for the interviews. Okay. Great. I'll quickly walk through the concepts what we are going to cover in our cybersecurity course. Clear? So let me see that. Go through this, just give me a minute. So these are the concepts of basics, cybersecurity basics, which will be starting from today onwards. Okay. So still we haven't started much into this. The way how you have learned client server communication, ports, protocols, maybe partially we would have covered on that. In the similar way, you're going to learn even these concepts. It is very easy. Don't think of like it is going to be very tough. So we'll start with IP address. What is meant by that? Static address. Okay. These are all part of your graduation concepts. We have discussed about assets, right? 11th item. What do you mean by an asset? In non-IT, what is meant by asset? In IT, information technology, what is meant by asset? Definition of asset. Then the 12th item, if you see, vulnerabilities. Okay. Can I get the definition of vulnerability? At least one word definition from all of you. What do you mean by vulnerability? One word definition I want. So this is pretty much straightforward. It is a security defect. Okay. Vulnerability means it is a security defect. Always try to remember that. So the job of cyber security analyst or penetration tester or security tester is we have to find the security defects. So as part of your job, your software company or the application owner or project manager is going to provide you the application for testing. But if you are trying to do as a freelancer, you will get a contract like this is my website. Please do security testing and find security defects. Security defects are nothing but vulnerabilities. Or if you are trying for a bug bounty hunting, there will be a lot of applications. You select the application and try to find security defects. Based on the severity of your security defect, you will be paid. Okay, have this in background. Then as part of our course, we are going to talk about some basic principles of security, 14th item. Then 15th item, if you see, this is very important. Operating system installation, formatting, and test lab setup. How we are going to do that? So basically, I'm going to set up the testing environment in your laptop or PC itself. The way how it looks like is, say for example, this is my laptop and one operating system. You have to install a virtual machine software, VMware, that is called VMware. I'll try to open that. So if you are able to see the screen, VMware Workstation Pro. This is basically simple software application you have to install in your computer. Once the VMware is installed, you have to configure the operating system. So basically it is like base operating system is there. Within that base operating system, you are going to launch multiple operating system. If you see the screen, there is an operating system called Debian Target 64. This is a Linux operating system. Very simple commands will be there. Don't worry about like terms or technologies. The way how you have learned the definitions of assets, vulnerability, even these applications are also as it is. I mean to say VMs. It will be as good as you are getting familiar with WhatsApp. All of you know like how to use WhatsApp, how to send message, how to put status, right? Similarly, even this Linux operating system. Windows 7. So it is going to be like within the operating system, you are going to launch one more operating system. That's it. This is for labs purpose. That setup, I'll make you to set up the similar one in all of your systems. That will cover as part of test lab setup. Okay. VM Workstation Pro, we are going to use it. It will be very easy. Don't worry about that. I'll take care of it. And see the web technologies. Web technologies means you should have the capability to understand the HTML tags. Okay. We'll try to cover this in the next week. It is very simple. If you want me to create a simple web page, it is very simple. Say for example, I'm going to launch the Notepad. Okay, or Notepad++. Try to create a new page. Simple tag, for example, HTML is there. See how I'm writing the simple script. Close this HTML tag with /. That's it. And you try to put some header. Always remember starting and ending will be like always the ending tag. You should give the /. I'll say hello. And I mentioned even some script. Are you guys not able to see the screen? So does all of you are able to see the HTML simple script which I am writing? Oh, words are not visible. Okay. Great. Let me try to maximize it. How about now? It's clear, right? So I had taken a simple notepad or notepad plus plus. You can install it. It will show correct tagging. When you try to save it, right? I'm trying to save it. Let me try to save in the desktop. I'll give simple as a file name dot. You should put dot HTML. That's it. Nothing else. Okay. Save it. See how the script is looking. Go to your desktop. Where is this simple.html? It is here. Right click, open with Google Chrome. I'm trying to launch it with Google Chrome. You can see the alert now. Welcome to learning. Click OK. What is the header I gave? Hello. That's it. If you are able to write simple script like this, you can cover HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You'll get familiar with this. Don't worry about it. There is nothing programming or complexity in this. Okay, these things we are going to cover as part of security essentials and some basic networking concepts like what do you mean by a computer, how do you communicate it, what do you mean by IP address. Okay, we talked about different servers, right? Database server, application server, some more concepts behind that. That's it. Ports, protocols, all these will be under basics. What about the next thing? So let us go to the advanced concepts. What are we going to do in advanced concepts are whatever the vulnerability you have tried with SQL injection, we have lot many vulnerabilities to cover. Okay, so check about the tools. We have Nmap, Wireshark, Metasploit. Each one is meant for a different purpose, and I can say like approximately 5 to 6 steps are there for each and every tool. You have to remember that. Shall we cover one simple tool? And other things are just basic concepts to analyze those things. And I guess all of you have this PDF. Let us try to cover one simple tool called JAP. I'll make you understand how JAP works in today's session, and we'll start with the basics of cybersecurity. The reason why I want to start with JAP is we should know like how easy is cybersecurity. Okay, only thing is usage of tools is very simple. You should understand the concepts. Okay, even in an interview they are going to ask you the concepts only, not like okay how is that tool, how is it going to work. Some basic questions you could expect, but concepts are very important. Let us start with JAP and then we'll start with cybersecurity basics. In fact, if you see the 10th item, what is the 10th item? Cryptography. Did we discuss about cryptography? Plain text, cipher text, encrypted text. That's it. The same concept will be applicable here. Only thing is we will know like different encryption algorithms, 2 or 3 algorithms. And what else are there? Encryption also there. You have partially covered even these concepts. Okay, great. To make you the understanding of JAP tool, we'll discuss 15 minutes about the JAP tool. This is the tool which is widely used in any kind of software company because it is an open source. Okay. Some questions for you. What do you mean by virus in general? So what do you mean by virus? Is it good or bad? These two questions I want. In general. Coronavirus. Okay. So let me see the answers from all of you. So I see the answer as bad. So all of you know what is the impact of the virus, but what do you mean by virus? Which affect the system? What system it is? Take some time, think of it. So I see which affect the system severely bad application or the computer system or the devices. I'll tell you one movie name. Just let me know how many of you have watched it. Some movie names: World War Z and I Am Legend. Has any of you watched these movies? Or what else? Some movie name called Telugu movie name Ram Gopal Varma's Dayam or something is there. Not Dayam. Okay, I think Dayam only. It is a Telugu movie. First two. Seventh Sense is also an example for virus. World War Z, how many of you watched it? Or even one more movie is there, Walking Dead or Walk Dead. I don't remember exactly. Yes. So all these movies are related to virus. Basically, one person gets affected. So what is that person going to do? He will affect some more people. One will become two, two will become four, four will become eight, and so on. Same example you can see with the existing pandemic. Like Corona is there. You see in the month of January end or February first week, how many people were there who has been affected with Corona? Approximately in hundreds, right? Now, what is the current existing count? It is more than 2.5 lakhs, right? So these viruses are bad. First thing is bad, and basically they are going to infect the system. Am I correct? Infect the system and spreads. In general, this is the meaning of virus and how the behavior of the virus. Let us talk about the information technology virus. Now let us talk about IT related virus. IT virus. So for example, if your computer is affected with virus, what are we going to do? What do you do if your computer is affected with virus? Next action. I need response from all of you. This is very basic question, right? Say your computer is not working properly. It's the moment you launch the game, automatically it closes it. Or the moment you try to log into some banking application, it will give you some pop-up like some ads or something like that, either mobile or PC. So at least, okay, I see some answers. Basically, we have to scan it, right? Scanning we do. The purpose of scanning is find virus delete it. Am I correct? Now I want different names of that is called antivirus scanner, right? Antivirus scanner. So can I get some examples of antivirus scanners in your mobile or laptop or desktop? Names. What are the names? One example from each one of you. It can be repetitive. I need the antivirus scanner names. Okay, I'll list down McAfee. Then I got Avast. Then Kaspersky, eScan. What else? Anything else? K7, Norton. How about in mobiles? Think of it in the mobile industry. Have you seen GeoScanner? GeoScanner also there, no? If you are purchasing Geo SIM or Geo Mobile, yeah. Okay, we have so many examples for antivirus scanners. Do you agree with me that the job of these scanners are scan and detect the virus and kill it? Virus is also a defect, right? So basically something which we don't want it, we want to fix it. Okay, so all these devices, I mean to say all these antivirus scanners or products are being tested by cybersecurity analysts, cybersecurity testers. Okay, they don't recruit manual engineers. No manual engineers for testing this. This is one of the job opportunity for us. So basically, some developer is there. He will try to develop this McAfee or Avast or whatever it is. Who is going to test this application? This is us cybersecurity engineers. We have to test. Test means I'll take one sample virus file and I'll scan it and I'll see whether it is working or not. That's how it is going to work. Now, the agenda is to understand JAP tool, not about the job opportunities. Let us talk about JAP. This is from OWASP. This is OWASP is an open source organization. They give free tools and free resources for cybersecurity. Okay. All of you know the definition of web application. What do you mean by the web application? The application that runs over browser. That's what it is, right? Browser. Imagine like web application has some defects, security defects, or what we are saying, vulnerabilities. So what I am saying is web application has some vulnerabilities. So what is the role of cybersecurity engineer? We have to find the vulnerabilities, but there are tools, we do have tools, automatically those tools will detect these vulnerabilities. What is the job role of cybersecurity engineer? We have to analyze the report. That's it. Very simple, right? So JAP is one of the example of this tool, and we do have IBM AppScan, HP Web Inspect. I'll try to cover one more tool. The job of all these tools is very simple. It will scan the website and it will give you the result. HP Web Inspect, Acunetics. If you learn one tool, that is enough. All other tools will function in the same manner. Okay. I'll try to do it from my end for the JAP tool. Once that is done, you have to try it in your system. Okay. Great. So JAP tool is similar to any kind of installer. You have to install it in your operating system. Let me launch Google. Google.com. Just type JAP for Windows. This is the owsp.org is the website. Click on that. First link. You have an option to download the JAP tool. Click on download. There are some links are there, automated with JAP, JAP Marketplace. Okay, here is an option, download option at the top as well. Let me click on that. Okay, you see multiple options, right? So JAP can be installed in Windows operating system, Linux operating system, Mac OS, any other cross-platform package. So which is my system here? It is a Windows 64-bit. So you have to download that specific one. Once you click on download, automatically it gets downloaded. Double click on that, it will be installed. Once it is installed, I think you are familiar like where to launch the application from programs. Go to start menu like this. Type JAP. Already it is installed. Just think like I have already installed it. Anyhow, we are going to cover this session one more time. I'm trying to show you how easy it is. Just open this application. It takes some time, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. So the purpose of antivirus scanner is to scan for the viruses. The purpose of web application scanner is to scan for the vulnerabilities in a web application. You can just try to correlate with that. Okay, you should regenerate, reinstall. Just click OK. I launched my JAP tool. Select the third option. Basically, you want to save the process or not. Don't save it. Select the option. Click on Start. Okay, your JAP tool is ready now. You see one option here, right? Close on this add-ons. URL to attack. You know the meaning of the URL, right? Basically the website name. So which website I can take? It can be any application. So if you are testing some client application, they will provide you the client application. If it is a banking application, banking URL. If it is a college website URL. Okay. So right now I am trying to do with two URLs. One is JNTU URL, other one is Ultra Mutual. Let me start with Ultra Mutual. Try to copy this URL. Go to the tool. Just paste the URL here. Right? What is the next thing? Attack is there. Click on attack. Now you see the history here. You see some progress in the bottom. It is scanning this website. It is sending some request and it is getting some response. Got it? What did I do? I just selected the URL and given as input to the JAP tool. Automatically it is triggering requests and we are getting the response. It may take some time. Let us see. And it is not like only ultramutual.com. You can take any website. You can take even this JNTU. And it all depends on the client application. If mostly the client wants their application to be scanned, so you have to take their application and you have to put it into the target. Ultra Mutual, why did I take is this is a sample application. So it will scan and it will list you the output. You see under alerts, there are some issues it has found. One issue is exit frame options not set. Just click on that. Select one sample request. This is the input request. Okay, just hold on. Even at the top you can see this is the request and response is this one. This is the response. So on request you are able to see it here. Don't go too much into in-depth right now. Just understand how this tool is working. So as a security engineer, you should know like how to analyze these issues. Okay. That's it. This is how we have to use the tool. To analyze this report, you need the secure testing concepts that we are going to discuss. It is almost similar to SQL injection. Like just like SQL injection, we may have some more vulnerabilities. Let me do one thing. You see some request and response, right? These are all like get request, post request, everything. Even the same request you can find in any kind of application. Say right click, inspect, Okay, go to the network. You can see here, right? Get method is get, and the request is here on the right hand side, request header, response header. So whatever the activity you do, for example, you click on sign in, it will generate multiple requests. You can see the request here. And how about response header? Response header also there. Body, cookies. So what do you mean by cookie? What is the purpose of it? Very simple things. You just need to understand these concepts. Okay. So today we have partially covered the Zap tool, but we have to analyze these issues. It is very simple. So you know what is the purpose of HTTP? What is the port number for HTTP? Can I get the answer? What is the port number that is used for HTTP communication? So port number behind HTTP is 80. So web application communication. So this is my client system browser. Server is ultramutual.com. So you can see the communication is getting listed as HTTP. Okay, that's it. You have to understand these concepts. If you are able to understand this, you are pretty much fine so far. And there will be some result code. Result code 200 is always success. If there is some error, it will throw some different error code. You have to understand these codes. So this is how the entire security testing is about. With the help of tool, we are going to do security testing. Without the help of tools also, we can do the security testing. Okay. Just like Zap tool, there is one more tool called, not one more tool. We have licensed tools as well. So let me show you IBM AppScan, one more tool. Okay. This is IBM AppScan tool. Click on that. IBM AppScan is a licensed one. I had tried setting it up a community edition. Okay. I think I may not be able to scan any IP address or website. I'll show you how the options will be there. So JAP and IBM AppScan. If you're able to get some kind of knowledge on these two tools, you are fit for web application security engineer. So it will ask you like create a new scan. Okay, select that. So what kind of scan it is to be? Regular scan you can mention. So AppScan automatically scan external device, means you can scan even mobile devices. Simple option. You can go with default options. Default options for now. Click next. So you have to provide the URL here again. Let me give. I'll give one website called ultramutual.com only, but it is represented with demo.testfire. Even with other URL also, ultramutual can be represented. That is demo.testfire.net. I'm considering that specific URL. Provide the URL. Then what should I do? It will check for the connection, whether this is can be reached or not. Connecting to the server. You can see the progress, right? It is trying to check for the connection. You see the green color. Means the tool is able to connect with the server. Click on next. So is it going to be recorded sequence or automatic? How it is? You can select recorded, recommended browser. Then you have to record that. Automatically it will launch. These are the advanced options. You have to provide the username and password. JSmith demo 1234. It all depends. If you are providing Gmail, Gmail will be automatically launched. You have to provide the username and password. Click on login. Okay, fine. So it has captured this login sequence. Say that I am logged into the site. Click OK. It will capture this sequence. These are the basic settings how to use the tool. So what did it say? Login successfully configured. Click next. So default you select as a policy. Click next. Perform in-depth testing. Scan will be longer. Normal. Okay, no issues about that. Next. Start a full automatic scan. Just go with the default options. Click finish. The scans needs to be saved now because yes, we want to save or not. So whatever it is, you can save the scan settings. If you select, say app scan hyphen version 1, try to save it. So what is, I am getting some prompt. License doesn't allow the scan or part of it. Help app scan. If you are using a trial, you may only scan the web application or this one. Okay, do we want to open the license dialog? No. Okay, let me start. That's the reason I don't have the license for this. Maybe like once you install it, you can get the 15 days license. Okay. From here, just I need to click on scan. It is similar to the JAP tool. Did I see the JAP tool here? We have closed it, right? How does the JAP tool work? It will scan that application and it will generate the report. Anyhow, along with app scan, I'm going to cover Nessus. Nessus is also a similar tool. I'm going to set up this in all of your systems and you can scan a website for complete. So the job of these web application scanners are, you have to give the website URL, initiate the scan, you'll get the report. The challenge here is you have to analyze these vulnerabilities. That is the reason we have to go through the entire course. So any questions so far? Is it clear what exactly mean by web application scanner? What do you mean by antivirus scanner? What is the purpose of web application scanner? Can I get the confirmation? Can I get the confirmation from all of you? Or if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. If you have understood, say yes. If you need some more details, you can ask me some questions. Don't think that JAP and IBM AppScan are done. I'm just showing the brief overview of these tools to make you comfortable. Like secure testing is not tough. It is very easy. Only thing is you have to spend time and you have to understand some basic concepts. Okay, great. Let us go back to our course curriculum. You see that under tools, JAP we have covered, right? Just I gave a basic introduction. Again, I am going to make you to install this JAP tool, launch the application, target some application, scan it, get the report. You have to export into PDF. All those things you have to do it by yourself. When we do the practicals, we'll continue that. And seventh item, what is the seventh item? Web vulnerability scanners. Nessus is there, IBM AppScan standard is there. So we are going to cover Nessus as practicals. Okay. We have to configure this in Linux operating system. Linux is also very simple. Don't worry about the new terms. So we'll start with scanning networks. Nmap is used for scanning networks. Sniffing means we are trying to capture some network packets. That Wireshark is used. Hacking web application. How do we hack different web applications and different techniques? There are around 20 techniques are there. I'll list down those. Hacking web server. Web server means basically it is an operating system. How do we hack web server? With the help of Metasploit, we are going to hack it. Okay. So in the next session, I'll show you how do we hack web server. Okay. Just for information purpose. Though you don't have much details, much knowledge, background knowledge about hacking, we'll start with hacking a web server. Okay, so I am here. I'm sitting in my location in Andhra. I want to hack some server which is in China. How do you do that? That we'll try to cover in the next session. Okay, the technology behind that, just to start with. And then we'll start with the basics of cybersecurity. Like there are different terminologies are there. Right now you have heard of assets, vulnerabilities. We'll go one after another very easily. At the end, we'll try to cover hacking wireless networks. Means how do we hack Wi-Fi points? Okay, and its technologies behind that. WEP, WPA1. Session hijacking means some of you have given some answers like launch the session, log into the ultramutual.com, navigate back, it should redirect to login page. All these things will be covered in session hijacking. Right now, we'll not be able to correlate much of these things. We'll start one after another. So this week, we have covered about basics of software engineering, different job roles, what is the purpose of a IT application, what is the purpose of quality, understanding of security defect, functional defect, and different job roles. All these things we have covered in this week, right? So try to revise these concepts. So next week from Monday onwards, we are going to start with basics and then some basics of computer networks, and then we'll get into the advanced concepts. So our next week concepts are, let me see if those are here. We are going to start with how do we do hacking? What is the process for it? First, understand the process, reconnaissance, then scanning, like different steps are there. How do we do the process for it? And then we'll understand different types of hackers, black hats, white hats, gray hats. These are basic things. And the importance of principles of security, CIA, and different types of hacking that has done so far, and IT infrastructure. So we are discussing about web security, network security, right? What does the IT infrastructure consists of? You know, web server, application server, DB server. But how are those structured? Its environment, some vulnerabilities that are existing in each one of it. Okay, all these things we'll cover in the next week. So do you guys have any questions? It can be from the content, course content, or from the job, or it can be on the concepts that we have discussed so far. Any questions, guys? No questions? Everything fine? Okay, great. So if you have any questions, stay back. I'll be available for another 3 more minutes. If not, we'll catch up on Monday. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. We don't have a session tomorrow. And tomorrow's session, there is one more session for tomorrow. Like for the previous batch, I am going to have interview questions. Basically, they would have prepared with all the skills that are required for interviews. So it is going to be a revision kind of class where I'm going to ask them some questions they have to answer, but complete on the cyber security, not like only on specific topic. If you are interested, you are free to connect. Just let me know, or else you can just revise the concepts whatever we have discussed so far. Timings are same, 7:30 to 9. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great day.